There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder.
Welcome to Community Forum. Today is April 19th, 2022. We are here in the studio. COVID is hopefully diminishing and permitting us to get back to our regular lives. You are on Community Forum. Your host is Priscilla Almquist Olson, and I have the pleasure today to have two very important residents of Easton who contribute to a wonderful, wonderful cause. And one of them, Ken Woods, was the founder of the Easton Food Pantry. And that happened in, believe it or not, 1978. And we welcome his PR guy, Dan Guerin, who is also here to share the good news about a new address. Previously, the food pantry was at the town offices on Elm Street, but now there's a new location. And Dan, you want to tell us about it?
Yes, it's hosted by the Fellowship Church, who are giving us the space rent-free, which was awesome. It's at 604 Foundry Street, which is a big white church. There's a Target across the road. We are in the back, the rear, so as you go into the church, to visit, you'd go left, but when people go for food distributions on Monday, we ask that they go right, circle around the building and queue up that way. But the church has been completely awesome to us. We actually have more space than we had in the town hall basement, and it's also easier to access. There's only a couple of little steps to get into it, versus the town hall in the basement was quite a few steps. So we see the work that's going on at the town hall. We had to vacate because of that work, but it worked out exceedingly well. We're on our feet, and also the generosity of the town of Easton with the donations, especially the cash donations, have allowed us to retrofit the space that we got. We completely redid the floor, we painted the walls, built shelves, and again, all of that was done as everything that we have with donated money, from the town folk that support us.
And tell us the date and times, Dan.
Okay, the food distribution's on Monday from 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. We do try to get folks, not to queue up early, because we have never run out of food in our entire existence. Some folks do, but we're prefer it if you come at the stated times.
What's the phone number so that they can call and let you know that they're coming?
Okay, the phone number is 781-333-6284. And I'll say that again, 781-333-6284. We are going to try something a little bit new. I think we started this weekend, is that for the folks that are coming every week driving, which is about 50 families, we started asking them this week if they're going to come again, with the idea being that maybe not have to call every week for the distribution. We still are asking the folks that get delivered to, and these are folks that are unable to drive. We do deliveries, especially to the old age homes, Lee Circle and Parker Place, as well as some folks may not know it, but we have a trailer park home, and then different locations throughout the city that folks just simply can't drive anymore. So that delivery is strictly if you cannot drive. Everyone else we ask to drive down to our facility at that time.
Wonderful. Okay, so now we're going to listen to the founder of the food pantry and learn a little bit about its history. Ken, take it away.
Yeah, our mission for the food pantry since 1978, the Easton Food Pantry, has been dedicated to providing food for our neighbors in times of need. As long as there are hungry people in our community, our doors are open and the hearts are open to help you. So and a couple of things I just want to kind of run through because a lot of people are asking. We're at 604 Foundry Street in South Easton at the community church. And like Dan said before, the phone number there is 781-333-6284. And website is eastonfoodpantry.org. So, and our distribution hours are Mondays from 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay, Ken, tell us a little bit how you got started. And I know your late wife, Mary Jane, she was instrumental with you. The two of you were quite a team for many years until she passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah, well, it started out as kind of a crazy thing. I had just taken over as a part-time recreation director after Val Moscato had passed. And I got a call from the clerk's office and said, could you take this call? And I wasn't sure what it was about. And it was a gentleman that they got burned out here in Easton, and they needed help for food and clothing on a temporary basis. So at that time the council on aging and the recreation, we both were in the basement of the town hall. So we all got together and we collected some food and stuff like that, some clothing, and got together with the Brothers Keeper, and they have certain things that they could help them with. And but that's what started the whole thing. It was with a small refrigerator. We finally got a small refrigerator and a few shelves. The refrigerator was from the housing, one of the small ones that they have, and that's how we started out. And they used to remember distribute food from the FDA foods down at the Lutheran Church years and years ago. And what we used to do is go down, and what was left over, we'd bring back to the food pantry. There was cheeses and butter and a lot of peanut butter and all those kind of items. So that's where it kind of started. And then the Northeastern Post Office got very involved with us. At the first holiday festival that we had, when it was run by the town, they had all their post office in the parade. They had all their post office trucks say support the Easton Food Pantry, and that was kind of our kickoff for the food pantry. And
So
we were 5 or 6 families a week, and
So that was 1978.
yeah.
Yeah, and then it's grown and grown since there. And what about the needs of the Eastern residents? Hasn't that also grown?
Yeah, it's grown quite a bit now. We're actually servicing veterans, a lot of veterans now. A lot of people. We are also handling people that are disabled and can't get out and get foods and stuff that are in need. And also council on aging. Our van is pretty well filled up on a weekly basis now. It's getting overwhelming of the food we deliver. But we've found that now, because of the way the economy is, I mean, it was really bad when the epidemic and this virus came out. One of our holidays on Thanksgiving, we had over 200 and some odd families for Thanksgiving a year ago. So, but more and more people are in need now, and especially with the cost of food, cost of fuel, especially the elderly. It's a choice between food, medicine, or heat. So that's the kind of the choices, and that all of those are bad if you alleviate one of them. So the things we do, I just want to kind of mention the things that we kind of need. That we got a post office drive coming up shortly too. The Easton letter carriers all over the United States are doing the postal food drive.
Well, let me just say, I know that many of the churches, including mine, Holy Trinity Lutheran, weekly collect food from our parishioners to donate to the food pantry. And I'm sure there are other churches that do the same thing. But if somebody out there who's listening today wants to donate food, give us some of the items that are most commonly needed, as well as where to drop things off and when.
I can handle that one.
Oh, okay.
Priscilla. We have 2 designated drop-off spots at Roach Brothers in Shaw's, and we also, in rear of the Fellowship Church on 604 Foundry, we have a van that we leave open from, say, 9 to 5 p.m. that people can put goods in there. We then take it from the van, into the building. We do ask that all goods that be donated be non-perishable. There will be some time, obviously that they will be without refrigeration, so we can't take anything like, meat, milk, eggs, that type of thing. But the list of what we want is on our website, and again, it's mostly staple items, cereals, soups, canned vegetables, anything spaghetti, anything that, again, doesn't need to be refrigerated. So we're always thankful for the donations we have, and we're thinking that with inflation ticking up, I believe it was 8.5% last month, we are expecting to see another increase in demand. We went from 80 families a week, our kind of average, to 120, a 50% increase during COVID. That slid back down to about 80, but wouldn't be surprised if it would rise again. We're also seeing a slight reduction in some of the food we get from the Greater Boston Food Bank. They're being taxed. Dollars don't go as far as anybody knows who's shopping. Prices are back into a inflationary environment. So again, we thrive and we survive really on the generosity of Easton residents.
Now, thank you. That was wonderful information. I know that peanut butter and jelly and pasta and tomato sauce are key items, cereal too. And I know that the Richardson Olmsted School has a garden, I believe, and they always donate fresh vegetables in season, as well as Langwater Farm, and there probably are others.
Yeah,
So
Langwater Farm is huge. They do a tremendous amount. And I'm always surprised because we'll be getting things in January, root vegetables, potatoes, turnips, things like that. So we almost very few weeks throughout the year that we do not get something from Langwater Farm.
That's
I also want to point out too, while we're talking about donated, Roach Brothers was huge. They donated the hams for Easter dinner. That was great. And the St. Vincent Paul Society, which is a branch of the Immaculate Conception Church, contributed $3,000 to that dinner, as well as buying the milks for us for the last couple of months. So then those in particular, I mean, again, there's other people on food drives. I know there's going to be a food drive for the Covenant Church coming up, I believe, June 18th. Ken mentioned the postal drive, and usually as the summer months increase, there'll be more drives. Okay, we expect that.
That's incredible. And I know, Ken, we talked earlier about some of your ingenious and creative ways of getting food and getting funds back in the 80s. As the number of people who needed food increased, you needed to find other sources. Can you just tell us one of those stories?
Well, what I've done in the past, I was doing a lot of communications. We've done a lot of PR. It's got so much now that I had to get Dan to kind of take on some of the things that are going on, because there's just so much out there. But we used to go and give talks. I'd come in here and do shows in here like we're doing today, showing the canned goods that we needed and what to do and what not to do. We actually got, back then we were actually got people that were giving us items, not that were dented or outdated, but actually I even opened up a jar one day and somebody had actually opened it up and passed us a jar that had already been eaten out. So yeah, we don't want any of those items. But just to add to, and of course I'm getting out there and meet with the Rotary clubs and the Lions clubs and all of the organizations in town. The other thing is, I used to go and meet with all the schools and give talks to the classes with the kids. They do fundraisers, and some of them would make, back then, they'd make some crafts to sell, and they'd get a profit on those items, and I'd go down and they'd make a presentation of the money that they had collected from those items. So that's how we kind of started out way back. But it was out there, getting out there in the community is very important, and letting people know what's actually happening.
There was an excellent food drive by the center school right prior to the February vacation, and the teachers were taking pictures of the kid bringing in individual items of food, and it was so cute. That wasn't something we publicized these days. People, with children or whatever, you're kind of reticent to share photos, but just so you know, they did do a great drive. We got a lot of food, and Ken and I recently addressed the school committee to maybe coordinate a little bit better for the different food drives for the different schools, so that we like to stagger things out. If we get hit with multiple food drives within a short period of time, we do still have storage limitations. Even though the new space has more storage, it's a finite thing, and we need to kind of move goods. So that's what we ask. If you are thinking of doing a food drive, please, contact us first, and we may say, well, geez, there's already one of that. Could you maybe move it out, a month or so? So if you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated.
Wonderful. So, Dan, tell me, what has been your greatest satisfaction taking over all the public relations? And certainly it must be a job that is a labor of love, but also something that takes a lot of hours out of your week.
It does, and actually, though, I've recently gotten some help from Ken's daughter, Kathy Tempestosto. I'm not saying it right. So she's been great helping me as well, because I, believe it or not, I'm not the most technical person. I did build a website, but only through GoDaddy with a lot of help. And so she's helpful, especially with Facebook. It's good. It's funny. I just saw a New Yorker cartoon this morning where the father was feeding the baby and saying, as soon as I get you onto solid food, I'm going to have to ask you some computer advice. And it's about right, and my daughter, helps me as well. So, yeah, but I get satisfaction just from sharing on the thanks page. We had folks that stepped up and helped us with free labor for painting, for building the shelves, for doing electrical work, and to publicize that and let the community know that we're getting support, not only in food, which we always want, and money, which we always want, but in the time of need when we were transitioning to the new building. A lot of local companies stepped up and helped with labor. So I love to recognize the help that we get, because without it, we have nothing. And just so you know, this is a 100% volunteer organization. Nobody has ever taken a penny in salary. So everything you give goes either to food or the gasoline for getting the food, and the vehicles for that's needed there. There's nothing that goes to any salary.
Now, I also understand, Ken, that there are people who were recipients of the food who now are volunteers in the distribution of the food.
Yeah, there has been over the time. They've kind of come and gone, but we've even had people that over the years that have come to us for food, and they've moved out of town, and now they're back in business and working again, and now are sending us checks. We do take momentary donations. Monetary, correct, and that's a big help, because a lot of time we're buying a lot of food now that we don't always have. The extra vegetables, milk, and those kind of items that we don't normally get donated. So that's important. So this is a kind of an important thing, that you have the right address now, because it's changed and people got used to it over 40 some odd years. It's the Easton Food Pantry, Inc., Post Office Box 1481, Easton, Mass. 02334. So we have a post office box now. Some mail still goes to the town hall, so we have to pick up from 2 or 3 spots right now till it gets all on the same page.
Okay, an easy way to remember that is the year 1481. I wonder what happened during that year. But it's more important to know that that's the P.O. box for the food pantry for you to send your generous donations to. No cash, just a check. And it's the post office address 02334, which might not be as familiar with people. 02334. Okay, so I know that it's so rewarding to know that you help people in need. And by and large, the people are really in need. There aren't people who come who don't really need it. Isn't that the case?
Yes, we get calls actually from the school department and from nurses and Nurses Association. And we even get calls from the Council on Aging of people that need help. And we've even during this virus, we've even got calls from the state. When we got involved with the epidemic there in the virus, I got calls 24/7 on the phone from the state and the different organizations in the state, and we all work together to help people out, because all of a sudden they'd call us up from the team that knew people were isolated, and they said, "Oh, a family in your town needs food delivered to them." So what we had to do is bring the food, we get a hold of them, and we deliver food to their house, and we'd call them, and they had to stay in their home, and we'd put it on their porch, and then, of course, everybody was masked, and then we had to call them again, and then they'd come down and they'd pick up the food. But we had, at one time, we had about 8 or 10 families that we were servicing that way, so it was quite a challenge.
I'd like to add to that we are very, very protective of the anonymity of recipients. Anyone who needs food, we're not going to, for instance, when the ECAT came down to film, we said, you can film the volunteers, but you're not going to film the recipients. We're very protective of that. And so anybody that needs food, please don't feel any kind of, embarrassment or stigma or whatever. Everybody has a situation where you can be down on your luck, and as you alluded to earlier, Priscilla, we usually have it the other way. People that have given for years and years, and they may be 1 or 2 paychecks away. If they lose their job, all of a sudden they're on the other end. So again, do not feel bad. We do protect your privacy, and all you need to do, we don't ask anything about income. All you have to do is show that you're a resident of Easton. And for that, we just ask like a recent utility or rent bill or something.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. Yeah. I'm so glad you did, because your privacy is protected. The anonymity that Dan talked about is real, and so don't worry about that. If you're down on your luck, if you don't have the funds to feed your family, don't hesitate. Contact the food pantry. And Monday between 11:30 and 3 at 604 Foundry Street. That's where you go. And the brochure I find really interesting. If these brochures are available at the town hall, I believe.
All the Northeastern Savings Banks.
The Northeastern Savings Bank.
School department.
School department.
We're getting them scattered all over the town.
So you just look for the basket of fruit on the cover. And inside is a wonderful quote that many of you know, have heard before, but it bears repeating. Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed 100 people, then just feed 1. And so remember that. And when you're having your meals and enjoying dinner, lunch, breakfast, remember the people who maybe are only on 1 meal a day and who need assistance. And if you know somebody in that case, call the food pantry, and perhaps they can give you instructions on how that person can become a recipient. So, Dan, any other information that you'd like to impart?
The other thing I'd like to add too is, while we are always in need of the staples that are listed on the website, folks are very generous, and we do whatever we get from other donations, such as diapers, pet food. We started doing some more pet food because we found some recipients might be giving tuna to their cat, and we'd rather give you some pet food. So we don't promise that we'll always have those items. They just, as they come in, we give them out. For instance, South Shore Dermatology got a lot of skincare products that vendors give them or whatever. They couldn't give them out in their practice, and so they give them to us. And next thing you know, out in self-help, if you need something like that, and again, any dollar that you don't have to spend on that type of good is another dollar that you have available to buy what you really need to eat. We also do gift cards when we know that there's going to be, for instance, the snowstorms. We're not going to be able to do the regular distributions, and periodically we give out gift cards that help people supplement, because it isn't really a lot of choice as far as except for the self-help goods, and some people with special needs can then use the gift cards to kind of add to that.
I just want to add another thing, Priscilla, to what Dan was saying about the confidentiality of the people. When they come in, you'll find that our volunteers are very receptive to them. They tell stories and they kind of joke as they're coming in. These are people that are coming that really don't want to have to come to a food pantry to get food. So you try to take the pressure off them a little bit and make them feel a little bit more at home, I guess you could call it. The other thing too that I wanted to kind of cover, we do a lot of outreach, as you know. Some of the flyers that we have down there. So we work with the WIC program in Brockton, and anybody from Easton that's tied in with WIC, they pass out our foldouts to them.
And would you tell us what WIC stands for?
Women and infants and children.
Yes.
Okay, Dan's got it. And then we work with the SNAP program and connected with the Boston Food Bank. They're another one, and then we also get our information that's tied in with the Veterans Services on Barrow Street, and the Hugs program, and another one that we give out when the new people come in. We give them a package of all these flyers so that they know. And then the town, of course, has a flyer out of all the things that you can help out with the veterans and anybody else in town. And also, a lot of people don't realize you can get a write-off and a discount on your Edison bill. So that's important for everybody to kind of realize that it's coming down. And so we try to get outreach out to the people and pass all that information too. When the town was given, during the epidemic, we had problems with people that were renting, if you remember, all over the state and all over the country. And the town was helping people out, so we pass out flyers from them to all the people too, and put in all their bags so that they get the information out. So we do a lot of outreach, and we work with all the organizations in town. We network with my brother's keeper, Mainspring over in Brockton, like St. Vincent de Paul. We work very good with them. If you come to our food pantry, you have a chance to go down to Taunton if you want to drive down there, and twice a month you can get extra foods down there with the St. Vincent de Paul and Taunton. So that's another thing that we try to get the information out to people for that.
Well, I know that the town facilitated and implemented state and federal programs to aid people with rental money. Small businesses got grants from $25,000 to $75,000 in Easton to keep their business going. But ordinary people who were challenged financially were given assistance. So I assume that that information is also found in the food pantry bags.
Right.
Right. Okay. So it's a wonderful organization. It meets the needs of people when they need it most. And we thank Dan Guerin, the PR man extraordinaire.
Guerin.
As you can hear and see. And the wonderful, loving, generous, spirited, and humble founder, Ken Woods, whom we love to interview. And he shares his love of people and so appreciative. And his wife, God rest her, Mary Jane, who was they were such a team. Both of them pulling their own weight, and we remember her too on this day. So we thank you both for coming.
Thank
Ken,
you for having us.
Thank you.
Dan?
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
the
us.
opportunity.
And to our listening audience, our viewing audience, don't forget, do your part. Send a generous check. This is a holiday season, and give a donation in memory of one of your loved ones perhaps who isn't here with you any longer, and put that in the memo in memory of. That will be also appreciated. Thank you very much for watching Community Forum. This is Priscilla Almquist-Olsen wishing you well until next time. Thank you for watching.